Bread and Circuses. What's up, everybody? It's me, Nick Kohler.
I'm Caleb Salvatore here. We've got our guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Tom Piernicky.
Yeah, we got Tom Piernicky here. He is, well, I mean, he reached out to me, but I was going to actually reach out to him the same day he did. But how's it going, man?
It's going good. So down here in Corpus right now. I work up in Austin, but come down to Corpus once a month to go do my Army Reserve gig, and this is the weekend I get to go do that.
Cool. Nice. You got that in a couple weeks, right?
No, we did ours like last week.
So, never mind. Yeah, I'm way off on my schedule. So, So you were, and you corrected me on this when I said you won a Bronze Star. You were awarded a Bronze Star.
Actually, Tom, you should just kind of introduce yourself. Like, so your background in branch of service. I think you're in the Army, right?
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
So I joined the Army back in 2005. Went through OCS, became an officer, got picked up for armor, so tanks and Bradleys and all the cool stuff that blows shit up. Got assigned to Fort Hood, where I was part of the 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment.
He's first Cav boy over here.
Third Cav.
Third. Oh.
And first Cav came later. But we did a lot of train up, went to Iraq, spent 15 months in Iraq from November of 2007 through January of 2009. Out mostly for the first year was out there in the eastern province, Diyala, right next, like 30 minutes from the Iranian border. A lot of bad dudes out there. In fact, the guys that we ended up fighting against would eventually become the genesis of ISIS. And,
okay.
And
so you were over on the eastern border over there. Or you said over there by Iran, right?
Yeah, Fort Caldwell, which was like literally 30 minutes from the Iranian border.
Yeah.
We were over there, and we brought home as many guys as we could. We definitely fucked some dudes up over there.
And that was like early Iraq days too, where like there were no new ROEs really.
This was during the surge. We had some ROEs, but we were most of the time though. The problem being is that a lot of the assholes we were fighting, they couldn't overmatch our capabilities with tanks and Bradleys. But right there on the border, they had the old Iran-Iraq battlefields. So they would just go out there, grab some old anti-tank mines, throw them on the dirt roads, cover it up, and walk away. We'd hit that shit.
I don't necessarily know the armor strength and everything of Abrams as well, but I know Bradley is one of their kind of commonly known weak spots. You can look it up online. It's a public knowledge is that they're fucking underneath them is really, really thin. So like when for the people out there that aren't in the military or anything and like saying anti-tank mines don't mean anything to you, like with Bradley, it's the armor is really thin on the bottom, so like an explosive from the bottom will fucking kill like everybody in the Bradley. So I've definitely heard a lot of old Iraq stories where like not a whole lot of the Abrams got fucked up, but like you could see a whole lot of smoldering Bradleys all over the place over there in Iraq. So
yeah, we were lucky. We got the Bradley Urban Survival Kit, the Busk, and then the Tusk, which is the Tank Urban Survival Kit, the phase 1 or 2. So we didn't have like the full cupola protection like the guys were up in Mosul in the city because they were taking sniper fire from up high. We were mostly in open desert and like buildings that were maybe 2 stories high, a lot of open area. So they did put the level 1 kit, which has like a V-shaped plate that goes in the bottom to help. So when the blast comes and hits the bottom, it deflects it out to the sides. And that worked out really well. We did eventually get some of the MRAPs when they were first coming out.
And what year was that?
That was 2008.
Okay, yeah, man, that was MRAPs like right when they were coming out.
Yeah, and so we were supposed to get those in like February of 2008, but then they said I think it was like Second ID had priority because they needed them more for the urban fight. So they pushed us off, and then like a month later, some of our guys got killed by an IED right underneath the damn vehicle, and so that kind of suddenly like higher headquarters like, oh, I guess you guys need this shit. I'm like, oh yeah, I would have.
Yeah, the MRAPs are cool because everybody knows like what a Humvee looks like, but MRAPs they're really high off the ground, like where everybody rides in. The wheels are humongous. It's like riding a big monster truck, and underneath is this armor that's V-shaped. So when explosions come up from underneath it, they are deflect like all the blast goes around the vehicle, and like the most that people get hurt in MRAPs from explosions is like 9 times out of 10 from the vehicle rolling over and people getting hurt. But like,
it's like in the Gulf War when they lost more troops to
fucking traffic accidents
Yeah.
than they did to actual combat.
Yeah. The weird thing about the MRAPs too is like now that the military is kind of like trying to get out of like insurgencies right now, like they don't know what to do with all these fucking MRAPs that they spend all this money on.
I'll buy one.
I mean, like the thing is they're not really like that practical in like a conventional fight. I mean, the use is supposed to be for like rear type stuff, like what a vehicle, like something like a Jeep would be used for in World War II. You know, like driving on behind the line and everything. And like they're so fucking beefy in armor that they're just really expensive for that role. And like, I mean, conventional warfare, you don't typically see as much IED usage and everything. Like if you look at like stuff going on in like maybe the Ukraine, which is like the best example of like a conventional fight
that's what
right
you're telling me.
Yeah. So the military is just like, dude, what the fuck do we do with all these MRAPs?
Well, in 2011, my platoon was back over for a second. Like it was actually like one of the last tours they did over in Iraq before it became Operation New Dawn or whatever. And no joke, like because they had all this excess equipment, in particular MRAPs, they literally drove them out into the desert, put the keys in there, and just walked away.
Yep.
Really?
They were selling them to the
taxpayer money, right?
They were selling them to like the Iraqi army in like, you know, early 2010s and everything, like the teen years. And then ISIS just stole all of them. That's how they got all their fucking armored vehicles, was because they took them all from the Iraqi army back in like 2013, 2014. Yeah.
Huh. I guess that makes sense though.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Speaking of ISIS, so I was in Afghanistan in 2014 when the whole ISIS thing kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
And we were reading some of the reports, and there were entire Iraqi armor brigades, like tons of tanks, that heard that ISIS was coming. They had tanks, but these guys are such chicken shits. They fled. They just abandoned their vehicles. Were asking locals in the area, like, "Hey, can you give me some clothes? I gotta get the hell out of here. I want to get killed." So they just left all that equipment, including tanks, to ISIS.
Oh my god! That was Iraqi guys.
Yeah, that was the Iraqi army.
Oh my god!
Yeah, because ISIS they got a lot of money from whoever the fuck they got it from. I don't know 100%.
Soros.
Yeah, wherever the fuck. And then they were better trained than the Iraqi army, and anytime they would fight, like they'd fuck the Iraqi army up because like we weren't helping the Iraqi army at that point. We were like fucking gone, man.
How did the ISIS thing start? Like, did a bunch of guys just get together and like fucking regroup after Al Qaeda and like we're gonna fuck these guys up, or like
from what I know, it's like one of the guys from Al Qaeda, but
So when we were there was a village south in our area of operations that we focused mostly in the east, and then probably summer of 2008 decided to start pushing south because we hadn't gone south a whole lot. Mm-hmm. We knew that these were down there and they'd come out and kind of fuck around with us in the east, but then they'd just retrograde back down to the south. So we started to start pushing south and flushing them out. Well, we found like some of these villages abandoned. When I talk like abandoned villages, like the motherfuckers took the power lines, but there was nothing there. And in one of these villages, my buddy's platoon, they found one or two CDs in the dirt. They turned it over to our intelligence guys who watched it, and it was these terrorist guys that had taken an old woman that was mouthing off to him or whatever, and she was cursing him, saying, you know, Allah won't forgive you for all the shit you do. And basically, they beheaded her in front of everybody in the village to intimidate them. We started working with some of the locals there to set up what I guess we would call it like a neighborhood watch program. It was called the Sons of Iraq. So just local volunteers would come, and the Iraqis would give them like an official uniform, like a shirt, and they'd try to supply them weapons, and they would help provide extra security because the police and the army were stretched so thin, and there was only so much we could do. Well, they came into one of these villages after we had these recruiting events, and they snatched up this one guy, his wife, and his 1-year-old baby, and to prove a point, beheaded all of them in front of everybody. And these guys kept doing shit like this. Eventually, like the Al Qaeda dudes that were like in charge said, "Hey, fuckers, y'all need to calm this shit down because you're going to be a little out there." And they said, "Fuck off." And these are the guys that we were fighting that would eventually become like the genesis of ISIS.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like crazier than Al Qaeda.
They were like the craziest of Al Qaeda. Yeah, they got more people. A lot of people don't like prior to or contrary to popular belief, most people in Iraq don't like ISIS. They like. And they probably
it's like a dictatorship.
Yeah, they probably directly had some family member known somebody that's been like fucking murked by them,
right,
or something, because they're so Islamic, like fundamentalists. Like,
yeah. One of our interpreters, he lived in a city not too far from where we were, and his brother got killed by Al Qaeda. So when he wasn't being an interpreter for us, He was back home with his wife and his kids, but he was also gathering information on Al Qaeda operatives. He'd find out where they live, get his gun, go to the house, knock on the door, verify their identity, then shoot them right in the face. They're dead. So he was a vigilante. Because,
oh my God.
Because of what
That's pretty badass, though.
Yeah. We had another guy. There's another guy. His nickname was Van Dam because they all had code names because a lot of people. But this guy is Van Dam. And I still keep in touch with this. He's a Christian Kurd, so he's a super awesome dude. He has all these scars on his face. And so if you ask him the story, like, dude, what happened? How did you get your name? He says, you see these scars? We're like, yeah. He's like, well, I found the guy that gave me these, like some kind of explosion or a fight or some shit like that. So I tracked this guy down. So like, he hiked 3 days through the mountains to where this dude lived in his house. And this dude's specialty was the RPG. But he would take the nose cone off the RPG and put more benzene in there for a bigger fireball. So he trekked 3 days through the mountains, found this dude lived. And every morning, this dude come outside, stretch, and kind of watch the sunrise. So old boy comes out one morning. He's stretching, seeing the sunrise and stretching and enjoying it. And our guy fires this RPG in there, blows him the fuck up in the stretch.
Oh my God. That's fucking awesome. That's a way to go out, man.
Our RPGs aren't like they are in video games. Like you can accurately shoot an RPG up to like almost 2 miles and like hit something with it
in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you're more than 500 meters at the max efficient range, but really you want to be like maybe 200 meters away because they're not aerodynamic or accurate.
The problem with them is that they're like cheaply made, right, and just mass produced.
Oh, right.
Like normally,
like AKs.
Yeah. So normally they are really accurate. Like I mean, ISIS, like back in like 2015, we would keep getting intel about like. Yeah, ISIS had these fucking RPG snipers that literally could hit somebody from 2 miles away with an RPG. Yeah.
Jesus.
What happens where they have the reputation for being inaccurate is because when they fire, right, that rocket comes out, 3 fins come out, sort of stabilizing fins. I think it's 3 or it's 4, one or the other. They come out as it shoots, and some rounds are just so cheap, or like they're literally from like the 60s that not all the fins come out all the way, so they just like go where the fuck off.
Right.
So. Yeah, they're actually, if they weren't like so cheaply made and everything, they can fire pretty accurately. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and you talk about shit that's not accurately depicted properly in movies. First off, the damage that military grade weaponry does to the human body generally is not reflected properly in the movies. Because
like more or less?
More. I think like some of the things you see in Saving Private Ryan, that opening sequence of the dudes with their guts hanging out, that was pretty legit. Our first firefight was in early February of 2008, and the way it kind of broke down was we went in to go talk to the sheikh of this one village. He's one of the major power players out there, and while we were talking to him, it was me and the commander and we had a bunch of other guys there, and they were trying to do the visual and fingerprints and the retina scans of a lot of the military age males to see if any of them popped up for wanted terrorists.
Right.
While we were talking to the sheikh, his son said, "Hey, I used to be a member of Al Qaeda. I can show you where they're at." And so we're like, "Can you now?"
That's pretty cool.
So we got him like a military uniform, disguised him. We left a bunch of the guys back there. It was me, the commander, and like a couple of gun trucks. And it took us a while to get those way out there. And he said, "Yeah, these guys get together every Friday night at this one dude's house. They have dinner. They plan their attacks. This is where we can go to. This happened."
Do you guys call him Dirty Mike and the Boys?
No. But this happened to be Friday, so we're like, wait, these assholes are going to be there today. So we go rolling up. The guy says, "Okay, that's the house." Well, it's daylight, so they see us and they start fleeing. And I'm like, let's go fuck these guys up. The commander's like, "Nope, we don't have 3-to-1 odds, which is what we need. So let's just pull back and we'll call it the Brads." I'm like, well, shit, by that time they'll all be gone. So we pull back to the Iraqi Army castle several miles down the road. It was a castle, but it was just their compound. It was too far for the tanks to go, so we get the Brads up there. The tankers show up in Humvee, so it's kind of role reversal. And then the commander pulls I won't say pulls a fast one, but he says, "Do you remember how to get up there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." "All right, well, I want you to be in the back of the lead Bradley using the gunner's auxiliary sight, the little thermal thing, so you'll see what the gunner sees. And I want you to lead the entire column of vehicles up there." I'm like, holy shit. So now it's at night. The only thing I can see, because Bradley's dark inside, there's no windows. All I can see is a little screen about this damn big, and I'll try to guide this entire column of vehicles. And we're going and going and going. Bradley's a little bit slower than say Humvees, and eventually we found the target house. But our driver got off road somehow because we were blackout. So we're hitting these freaking big ass. We're getting thrown around the back of this Bradley. It's hitting these big ditches and shit.
Brings back memories.
It was bad enough that I said, "Hey, can we go white light?" And so the commander's, "Okay, fine. Let's prevent injury." We go white light, and of course the sentries on this building, like, holy shit! So they start trying to flee, and that's when the shit kicked off. And one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen was in the Bradley commander whose vehicle I was in says, "Hey, these guys have guns. Can we shoot them?" Like, do they have guns? Well, fuck yeah, well, then light them up. They were jumping, a bunch of dudes. It's like a goddamn clown car. A bunch of dudes jumping into like the back of an S10 pickup truck. And on the screen, I'm watching our Bradley and 2 others fired, like perfect triangulation of rounds hitting the back of this damn thing and lighting it up. And dudes are jumping like, how the fuck are you all surviving? But the firefight ensues, dudes get lit up. And then afterwards, we go to get out, and there's one guy still alive. And I get called up to go with the commander and the informant to go basically identify these assholes. And the first dude that we see, like, his torso is facing this way, but his legs are twisted and facing the opposite way, and his guts are all just strewn along the ground, like for like 50 feet. And I'm like, damn, so that's what the Bradley's 25 does. And the parent's like, oh, hell no, man. He says, that was just the 7.62 machine gun. If it was a 25 Bradley, my main gun, there'd be nothing left.
Yeah.
Like,
Jesus.
fuck. And we did find like a dude's arm or legs. Yeah, that's what the Bradley does. So that was my first exposure to like what military grade weaponry really does to the human body. Like
I've heard that when say like a Bradley round hits, or like maybe someone got blown up by a mortar or something like that, right? It's everyone always says that the thing that'll survive though is like a fully intact face, and that's it.
Really?
And then a dick. You'll see a dick, just like
I've seen pictures from engagements. I think it was actually a 50 cal when my guys fired into a car that's fleeing. And yeah, there's like just some dude's face laying on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because I used to be friends with a guy, and he told like the most fucked up story he ever told me about being over in Iraq was that they had to go on a detail to go pick those body parts up, right? And they were just like grabbing the faces, because these guys were infantry guys. Yeah. So I'm sure Tom can. Yeah, they were grabbing the faces and going like, "Oh, look at me, I'm
that's pretty fucked up. That's pretty desensitized." Oh my God.
Oh well, yeah. There was the guy that he almost got we were 5 days away from the end of combat operations. We're talking early December 2008. And we were going out to this village, these supposed to be abandoned homesteads on the west side of Mosul in the mountain ranges. Last time anybody up there was like 101st had been up there like 8 months before. They found a bunch of munitions stashed away. So like, we're going to go up there. We'll take half the troop on the east side of the mountain range, half the troop on the west side. We'll go up there and check things out. Okay. Well, within like 10 minutes, the commander realized he had too many people from where we were out on the west side. He says, "Hey, I'm going to take a bunch of the Humvees, go up in the hills and check things out. You'll have some of your scouts, or some of the scouts, and like some of your tankers, and just go check these places out." And a lot of these abandoned homesteads, like a lot of it collapsed, just weren't much of anything there, or they're just abandoned. So I forgot that we had a Bradley or two with us. We had a couple of gun trucks, but we had a couple of Bradleys too. And we're just kind of, okay, hey, Sergeant Johnson, you take your guys over here and go check this one. I'll go check this one. Well, as we're approaching this one house, I see a truck parked outside. And so I'll kind of give you a little idea. So it was kind of like a long mud hut, but it's, only one story. Had a low wall in the front yard, as we call it. It was probably like maybe knee high or so. It was like a wall. It was a big
yeah,
wall,
to kind of put it in the perspective of the people that have never been there too, like imagine like Tatooine. Like that's what this shit looks like.
Oh, okay. The Star Wars?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So as we're approaching, I said, "Hey, Sergeant Johnson, go check out that destroyed homestead over there." Because we see this kid walking out of the house, like, we'll talk to these guys up here. Well, as I'm walking up to the truck, there's some chickens in the yard. I kick a couple of my guys around the back, say, "Hey, go up see if there's anything back over there." As I'm approaching, there's like a large semi-dry pool of blood next to the truck. I'm like, "Well, damn, someone get hurt." So and there's 3 doors. There's one like right on this end of the house, one maybe like 5 feet away from it, and there's one about 20 feet down. So it's 3 rooms to this house. And that last one actually like a sheet metal door. So we approached the first, this kid that was probably about 12 and walked out of that first room fast. We're like, where the hell's he going? Well, there's like we look in the room, standing outside. There's like a couple of little kids, or maybe like 5 or 4, something like that. Maybe 2 years old. A couple of them, pregnant lady sitting right behind them. And the room, kind of goes back and off to the right, and it's dark. So I'm telling my interpreter, standing right next to, like, "Hey, ask him if someone's hurt. We got a medic here." So he's durka. And the kids look terrified. I'm trying to show my blue eyes, trying to get because they're shaking. And we're like, it's okay, guys. We're just here. We're here to help. And my guys, I had two of my guys say, hey, there's a guy in the room. I'm like, where? He's back in the corner. I'm like, oh, hey, Mike. That was our interpreter. Mike, tell him to come on out. We'll see if everybody's okay. Darker. And I hear this pop fizz sound. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And my staff sergeant goes, grenade. And I happen to catch something on the corner of my eye, and right in between my foot and Mike's foot is this smooth metallic grenade.
Oh, shit.
And I'm thinking, why the fuck did Perez throw a grenade? There's kids right here. But then I remembered that there was an incident the week previous where, because we were getting ready to end of combat operations, we were supposed to turn all of our extra munitions in. And we were out of patrol, and Perez goes, hey, sir, I forgot I had this flashbang. Can we just pull the pin and throw it? I'm like, do it. So I'm like, wait, that's not ours. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I'm looking on this, jump on it, run, jump on it, run, jump on it, run. I look up and everybody's gone, like elbows and assholes gone. I'm like, oh, it's fucking time to go. And so I turn to run. And one thought is going through my head. I got kind of a big ass. You know, you know our side of the family, okay? We got some big asses over there.
Right. Yep.
So I'm laughing as I run away because I'm like, I'm laughing going, this is going to hurt. But in my head, it's like, they're all going to laugh because they're going to say what an easy target it was. So
I blow my ass off.
Oh, yeah. I get around the corner before it goes off. And I can't hear shit now. My hearing's fucked. And I look around the side of the front of the house again, and I see a Bradley of the turret swinging. I'm like, yes. And then I look back behind the house, and I see the guys I kicked around the back jumping behind a berm. I'm like, no, because they're right in the line of fire. So I run around back, and I'm going, get clear of the house, get clear of the house. And they're yelling some shit. I can't quite hear them. I said, get clear. I got to give the Bradley a clear line of fire. And I hear pop, 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 pop. And I'm like, what? And the medic goes, he's shooting through the house. And I turn around, and like the dirt wall, like arms like the way was going, poof, 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 poof. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I estimate where the shots are coming from. And I figure, okay, this should be about above the kid's head, the height level, and start shooting back.
Yeah.
And then the shots stop. I'm like, oh, hey, yay. So go to the north side of the house. My guys are up there talking. I'm like, what the fuck happened? And I see some dude laying on the ground. I'm like, and they go, no, he's dead. He's dead. I'm like, who the fuck? That's the guy that threw the grenade. I'm like, oh. So I guess what it was, to kind of summarize, the guy had been in Abu Ghraib, and one story told us he escaped. Another said he got let go, but he had come back. He'd been in there for like 2 years. His wife was like 7 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And then he was going back into town every day to his Al-Qaeda buddies and was planning on being a suicide bomber. So they gave him a Glock 9mm and a grenade for defense. He thought that we were coming up there to arrest him. So he declared jihad. That's why his kid left, his son left. And so he saw us, declared jihad, threw the grenade. That was that pop fizz because we pulled the pin. Hit our interpreter in the shoulder and went right between our feet. I never saw that shit. And
yeah,
what kind of grenade was it? Like an old like Russian one or something, or what?
It was just like a gunmetal gray metallic grenade, smooth. Like no, it wasn't like the pineapple one like we have.
Yeah,
I'd never seen that shit. I'm like, oh, but yeah. So after the grenade went off, he came out shooting at my guys with the Glock, and they lit his ass up. Well, what it was, those rounds coming through the back of the house was one of my guys shooting, and it was going through. So thankfully, we didn't have a fratricide incident.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, so that was fun to say the least.
Yeah, you can never assume like what those guys had or even still have, like because they just get like all this ramshackle ass stuff. Like you'll see them with like
Soviet
fucking
Union shit.
You'll see them with like German pineapple masher grenades.
Oh really?
Yeah, you'll see them with like fucking like World War II era Japanese stuff. Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Where do they get it from?
They fucking
Pawn
get
shops?
it. Yeah, well, they just get it, man. Yeah.
Right, because they don't mean a lot of those elements out there didn't have major funding, so they would just off the black market get whatever they could afford. We were in an interesting spot because directly east of us was Iran, and they were supporting and funding Jaish al-Mahdi or JAM. JAM had a headquarters right across the street from our FOB in the brick factory. We knew exactly where they were, and I'm like, let's go fuck these guys up. And they said, first off, no, stop. We're not going to fuck them up because Al-Qaeda and JAM don't get along. Al-Qaeda are the Sunnis and JAM was the Shias. Al-Qaeda was trying to fuck us up. And so JAM's like, hey, look, let's let them do that and leave the Americans alone so they focus on each other. While at the same time, JAM would go and fuck around with Al-Qaeda. So it's kind of a complex situation.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know that meme picture where it's like the guy from Always Sunny from Philadelphia, and he's like pointing at the camera or the chalkboard, and it's like,
oh,
you know,
the
they'll be like,
conspiracy thing.
well, that's like, so this group doesn't like this guy, but these guys are fighting these guys.
That's what we talked about in an episode before. I've tried to grasp Middle Eastern politics and like the alliances and the warlords. I fucking can't do it. I would have to dedicate that would have to become my day job if I wanted to begin to do that.
It's a shit show. Thank you, Britain, for what happened in the 1920s and redistricting and drawing maps of the divided tribes. That worked out well. So
we bash England on here all the time, so that's.
Don't get me wrong. The Brits are cool. I've made a couple of good friends in the British Army that I run into. They're good people, but yeah, that whole thing that they did back in the 1920s to kind of like make the country of Iraq, they didn't do that right. It's like, let's go back in time and unfuck that.
Yeah, pretty much the history of the Middle East since British colonization is like, well, I mean, you can't even say that because like back in the medieval days, they were fucking,
they were
fighting people too. Yeah, they've been just fighting like forever over there.
Right. Yeah, you got the Sunnis and the Shias. Iraq, it's kind of a proxy war between the Sunnis and the Shia. And of course, they got the Kurds thrown in, who are a minority group, but they're actually pretty fucking cool. But we can't officially support them because they are the minority group, and would piss off a lot of like the majority groups.
And they have a terrorist cell that like fights Turkey too.
Where does Hezbollah fit into that? Are
their Hezbollah is
that like a government?
They're like a Syrian minority group, right? That from what I understand.
It's not Iraq. That's somewhere over by Israel and all that.
Okay. So that's part of the Palestine thing. Okay.
Hezbollah is like the more eastern, like more towards the Mediterranean Sea area. Okay. They're like a minority group.
That's affiliated with Hamas too, right?
I think Hamas is just another terrorist group. They're just another.
Hold on a second. I don't even know at this point.
Yeah, maybe. Hamas. Well, Hezbollah is old. They've been around since like the 90s, and they want to. From what I understand, is they kind of like they have ties with with like ISIS, and they have they had ties with Al Qaeda and everything, but like they were more of the guys that like right now Hezbollah are like one of the guys trying to overthrow the Saudi government right now. So like
that's a whole other sticky situation.
Yeah, that whole thing is like it's all fucked up over there. Yeah, there's a lot of people fighting each other, and you're just like don't know.
That influence from groups like Al Qaeda was spread to the country. So like in the Philippines, like my wife's from the south down there, and they've got the Muslim that walk around like in the full ninja kits and use the beards. Like, so when on the rare chance that I go there, like the last time I went there was December 2012, and as we get off the plane, we had rented like a private van to bring the family back and forth, and like we need to get the fuck out of here because all the Muslims look and say, "Who's the foreigner? Where is he going? Where is he staying?" Like, we need to get the fuck out of here now.
What was there was a city, and it was in the Philippines. It was just recently. It was really bad with terrorism.
Well,
they got taken over.
There was like an ISIS cell there, and their Filipino military was like open war in the streets.
In the city.
Yeah, it was like street house to house fighting, like an actual fighting in the Philippines.
There was Marawi a couple years ago where that all happened. That's probably about 2 to 5. I think it's 2 hours away from my wife's home city. And they were finding dudes in her home city, like they managed to escape or managed to pass through, and the cordon the Philippine military had set up. So they're finding dudes like in hotel rooms with bullet wounds in the legs and such. So it's pretty dangerous down there. When I went there last time, I had to get permission from the first 1-star in my chain of command. I had to get permission from the first 1-star over in the Pacific Command, and then from there I had to call into Joint Special Operations Command Philippines every day. Call or text in by 10 o'clock to let him know I'm okay.
Just to go on vacation.
Just to go on vacation.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
And it's like we blanket them terrorist cells, but like they think themselves as freedom fighters.
Oh yeah,
that's so they see themselves as resisting American influence.
I mean, like when you're like fucking using like little kids as human shields, though, how can you really consider yourself to be the good guy? I mean, I'm not going to come on here and defend every U.S. military expedition or anything like that, but like you're beheading old ladies like you were talking about earlier. It's like, how can you really be like, we're on the right side of this?
They look at us and they go like, how dare you use women in your military? Like, how dare you do that? How dare you not have prayer every day? Yeah, okay. Like that. I mean, it's just cultural differences.
Cultural, a lot of that's driven because they are very much more religious minded.
Yeah.
They take shit to an extreme. That's one of the reasons why I am totally against organized religion, just because it's a form of mind control, and then people can justify heinous acts in the name of their religion.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's a big part of and especially like Catholicism or anything. But I've made enough Catholic Church jokes on this show. I won't go any further.
Yeah, the Catholic Church definitely does not have the best history. For sure.
I used to be an altar boy back in the day, back because I was raised Catholic. But one day I woke up and said, it's kind of hypocritical, and I gave up being Catholic for Lent 1 year and realized I was better off without it.
Yeah.
It turns out, I know they released recently like a list of like all the known pedophiles they've had within the ranks over the years, and there's
more. There's more than they're releasing.
There was a huge bust in Omaha. It was like 4 or 5 guys just like a couple months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's dating back to like the 80s.
Oh, it's been like, I don't know, 15 or 20 years. Like one of the dudes that came through when I was one of the head altar boy back in the day. Turns out the dude was, a boy toucher like that. Now I'm kind of torn here. It's like, on one hand, I'm grateful he didn't do anything to me, but at the same time, I have self-confidence. Like, why wasn't I good enough?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, was I not good enough to molest?
That's funny.
Well, yeah,
I think the Catholic Church is just like anything else where it gets too big. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah,
so they just get too big, man. They're gonna
you give anybody their own city, it's gonna go to their
yeah, no, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, look what they did hundreds of years ago. Because I studied a lot of like history shit in college, but they would come back and they'd say, "Oh, look, this person's a heretic," and they would just accuse people that were like rich, wealthy landowners, and if the other person couldn't justify or pay off the church, then they would just confiscate all their land and wealth, and that was
the Catholic Church excommunicated, was it Galileo, who one of the real famous like first astronomers that like basically had kind of like proved that the Earth was round. Like the Catholic Church like basically like ruined his life.
He said the Earth was not the center of the galaxy. I think it was
was it Galileo or was it Da Vinci? I don't even know.
It wasn't Da Vinci.
I don't remember.
Off the top of my head.
Yeah, one of those guys, man.
Jamie.
Copernicus, maybe, I don't know. One of those guys. One of those old like Renaissance era guys.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the bad stuff for religion, it should get called out, but it does do some good things too. I mean, they help homeless people and kids and stuff like that, and I think it's important to point that stuff out. But absolutely, they do a lot of just negative shit, so much violence and hatred. And
you don't see bad stuff generally happening from like the small little town church. Like you hear it from like way high up in like the Catholic fucking like kingdom thing going on.
Who was that douchebag that runs that mega church?
Joel Osteen.
Yes, that like wouldn't let the flood victims in
back in Houston.
Yeah, he like wouldn't let them into his multi-million-dollar church.
Well, my wife's a Buddhist, and I have yet to meet a Buddhist that's really an asshole. I mean, they're just very kind people, and they interesting philosophy on the way of life and such. And so my wife wants to raise our daughter as a Buddhist, and after she explained, I'm like, cool with me. Go ahead.
They do have a very positive outlook on things, and you don't have to necessarily, from what I understand, you don't have to necessarily be like super religious. It's more of like a pathway of life. Am I correct on that?
Absolutely. Yeah, and the core tenet is, treat other people how you want to be treated, but whatever you do to other people will come back on you 3 times over. That's kind of like the core tenet.
Okay, so like karma, yeah.
Well, karma is a little bit different than what people kind of mainstream think it is. Like karma is more of like it's actually
my name is Earl.
It's a lot more of a philosophical thing. Like your body, because karma comes back from a Hindu thing, which I've read up a lot on Hinduism because I really like Hinduism. Yeah. And karma is like things that you do all the time, like parts of yourself that are your character, right?
Right.
And dharma is what like permanent things about your character, right? Like the things that you always do, like if you wake up early, right, or you wake up late, that's your dharma.
Okay.
And karma is you can't change those dharmas, you can't change those permanent things about you unless you do things small to change them, right? Like that's karma. So like waking up early one day is karma. If you want to change your dharma to wake up earlier, waking up early one day, it's karma.
Also karma. Okay.
So yeah, you do the karma a bunch of good karma, do the good things a bunch of times, and your dharma will
like
change.
if you go out and you fuck some other girl when you're married or something, then that's negative karma.
But
if you only do it one time, but still it's negative.
Yeah, like you need to do basically, and it's not really as much of like positive and negative. It's more like changing. So like your dharma maybe is like working out, right?
Right.
You didn't start out, or maybe you did, but like maybe your dharma is that you don't work out, and you want to change your dharma to work, be it workout guy. It's dharma that way of like working out every day, you know, or like waking up that first day. That's good karma.
I attempted to study Hinduism in community college for a project. It was a group project. I got there and we got thrown out because one of the girls in my group decided to eat a cheeseburger at the Hindu temple.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, that is the one fucking animal in that religion that you cannot touch.
That's not
and
even,
you eat it at their temple.
That's not even really like I mean, it is ingrained in the religion, but like, I mean, there's people that aren't Hindu that live in like India or Pakistan or something
they
won't touch cows too.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't
that's
it illegal though?
I'm not sure, but I know it's a total cultural thing. Like that'd be like if somebody went into a fucking like just an English class at regular university and just like pulled out a fucking tray and was like, "Look, this is my dog and cat burger." Here, dude. Yeah, everybody'd be like, "The fuck out of here, dude! You eating dog and cat?"
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah,
this isn't Venezuela.
That would be garbage. This is my Venezuelan food, and there's nothing on the plate.
There. Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, you want to talk about something funny is karma. So that one dude from the firefight that we captured alive, initially our higher command said, "Hey, drop that guy and the corpses of all the dudes you guys whacked over here at the Iraqi Dima Castle." So we went and dropped them off, and they're all pissed. Like, we could do this? Like, hey, it's your countrymen. Fucking figure it out. We're out of here. And then like 10 minutes later, the command comes back and says, "Hey, that guy you captured, go back and get him and bring him back. We want to interrogate him." So one of my buddies had to take his platoon back up there, and he was very happy to come back to U.S. custody because in like the 15 minutes he was there, they had beaten him savagely, and as my friends or the official report said, violated him rectally.
Oh damn! Hell yeah!
Oh my God! Who did that?
My friend walks in. They were going to town on this dude.
Who did this?
The Iraqi army guys were doing this to like the one Al Qaeda guy we captured.
It's a different world over there.
Yeah, imagine you get like fucking in trouble at work and your boss just fucks you in the ass, literally. Like it's just like, all right, get over there, Caleb. Yeah, you won't do that again, will you?
Yeah, he was happy to come back to our custody to save you.
Dude, so I'll tell this story. My first deployment, I never actually like went into any of those areas, but I did go to Africa, 2015 timeframe. Like Africa was really popping off. Like there was a lot of we were mostly doing operations against something called Al-Shabaab, which is like a Somali terrorist cell that had pledged to ISIS.
Because you were in the Horn, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. We're like Somalia, Kenya, all those areas. So, Sudan? Or no, not Sudan. Fucking whatever is like north of that. I don't whatever.
Have the map on me, but
yeah, it escapes me. But so those Somali dudes, the Al-Shabaab had just gotten fucking done shooting up a university in like Mombasa or something like
Mogadishu?
that. No, Mogadishu's in Somalia. It was one of the cities in Kenya, like Mombasa or whatever one, right?
Right.
So
the one Obama was born in.
I don't know. But no, I mean, the Kenyans were super cool, man. And like, they would go over there and they would just go and kill Christians all the time. So like the Kenyan military goes and responds to that. Right. And they come back to our base and they've got a fucking, like a POW, right? Like or an EPW, we call them. They have like an enemy guy that they captured. And he is like, he's got a little man dress on. It's real skinny dude. Mm-hmm. Got a little burlap sack over his head, right? Yeah. And he starts getting a little froggy with them, like trying to struggle as they get him off the helicopter. Yeah. And like this Kenyan MP guy, and they've got fucking like different like rifles. They got like Belgian rifles or something like that, different ones we use. But it looks kind of, I think it's got a G3 actually. Right. Yeah, it was a G3. So it's just like a big bulky rifle, man, right? With like a fixed butt stock, like an M16. He comes over and like the guy and that's getting froggy and just fucking clocks him over
Right
the
in the
fucking
head.
dome with the buttstock of his rifle, and just like does it like 3 or 4 more times.
Oh my God, that's
and
so
yeah,
brutal.
he stopped fucking doing that, and we were all just up in our gun tower like, dude, oh yeah, fuck that dude up.
It's a different world over there. They don't have fucking CNN to be like, did you see what this guy did? And fucking raise hell on Twitter.
Yeah, we would just sit there and be like, dude, imagine being a prisoner in a third world country's jail, like military. Like, dude, they are like fucking you up, dude.
I use that to our advantage. So there was one village. There were these 2 brothers who were like some of the bigwigs for Al Qaeda in our area, and these assholes, they had a pretty good information network. So there was a couple of dudes in all these villages. So as we roll out of the fob, they'd have guys watching, and they start making phone calls. And hey, these guys called. So they'd be tracking which way we were going. And if we started looking like we were going to go up toward that village, they'd call those dudes. Those guys would bug out.
Right.
But we went up there to go try to hit these guys. We thought we'd sneak out. Well, they still got tipped off. So we roll up on this village and kick in the door, storm the house. And the mom's like, oh, my son over here, he went to Baghdad last week, and the other one went to Kurdistan. And it's like, this dude's an Arab. First off, we know the bitch is lying, because if he went to Kurdistan, they would fucking kill him. But we did manage to capture like the 12-year-old brother.
Yeah.
And so we were questioning, like, where's your brother? So, I don't know. So I looked at my Iraqi army lieutenant friend. I'm like, tell you what, I want you to take him into the chicken coop over there. I don't care what you interrogate him however you want. Come back to me within like the next 3 to 5 minutes and with whatever you got. So I'm just standing out there and I hear slap, blah, 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 blah. Slap, blah, 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 blah. And he comes out and goes, yeah, he says they got tipped off about 10 minutes before you guys got here. They went this way. I'm like, oh, okay. Iraqi solutions for Iraqi problems, man. We couldn't touch them like that. Hey, do your thing, guys.
Yeah. So, Caleb, what do you know about the Kurds, by the way? I don't know if we've talked about them at all, because a lot of people always hear about the Kurds. I don't know if they know about.
I know they're a delicious cheesy snack, but
yeah. So tell because I guarantee you, like, there's maybe like 5 people that know about the Kurds that will listen to us regularly. So
yeah,
they're an ethnic minority group, kind of scattered throughout the Middle East, but we had a lot of more northern Iraq from where.
Yeah, they mostly live in like the northern Iraqi area.
Well, that was who Saddam was going after, right?
So what happened with
Kurds,
that?
yeah.
Why Saddam was going after the Kurds was because during the Iran-Iraq war in the 80s, like Iraq and Iran were fighting each other.
What I understand, the Kurds are some bad motherfuckers, right?
They are, yeah. They're fighters, man. They've been fighting for a long time, but they started fighting because Iran armed them. Like when the Iran and Iraq were fighting each other, Iran funded Kurdish insurgency fighting Iraqis. And what happened was the Saddam, like, instead of like using military and fighting an insurgency, just fucking like chlorine gassed them all, and like,
oh my god,
yeah, killed like he gassed like a compound or something like that had a bunch of civilians on it too. Was like it had a bunch of Kurdish insurgents, but their families were there and everything, so it just killed all the families. Yeah,
right. Yeah, so they're an ethnic minority group, but. You're right. Like, their security force, the Peshmerga, are fucking on point. Those guys are pretty damn good. So we had Piernicky, which is a Kurdish city in the north. Again, the tanks couldn't go that far, so the Bradleys would go up there once in a while. That place was secure. Like, they had their own security and shit. So when our guys would go up there, they could literally just take off all their body armor, leave their weapons in the Bradleys, leave it wide open, and nobody would touch that shit. Like, you were a guest there, they would defend you to the death.
Mm-hmm.
There was even a point where there was almost an international incident where somehow the Iraqi army and them got into it, and they're like, the Iraqis rolled a bunch of tanks up and surrounded the city. And so as a tanker, I'm like, holy shit, I might get the chance to smoke a T-72. It created a problem because we're there supporting the legitimate government of Iraq, which the Iraqi army is a representative piece of. The Kurds, who are a minority group, which we're also trying to protect, they're kind of like, they're not the aggressors. They get picked on. I was like, well, shit, who do you help out? It got bad enough they actually had to call in a UN negotiation team to get our guys, our scouts had to escort them up there, and like they're up there for I don't know how many days, like at least almost a week.
So
that's
it's kind of like when you're a kid and your parents want you to take sides in a fight and you just go to your room.
Yeah, but imagine you had like 12 parents and they were all wanting you to do that.
Well, in 2019.
Yeah. That's why the Kurds and the Iraqis historically don't like each other, because of like what really tensed, because like there was an armed insurgency of Kurdish, fighting the Iraqis, and now the Americans are there. Like, I'm like, no, you guys get along. We're like, oh, but he hit me, and they're like, no, but he hit me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
The Kurds are really westernized too. Like, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, they said like you go up there, they have like malls and girls in miniskirts and shit. But they lost a lot of their ancestral territory to a bunch of the Arab people over there. But they have like I think they call it like a 30-year plan. So no joke, could be out that way. And this week, their checkpoint would be like right here. They have like just a couple of dudes there, with a little shack, and you go back up there like in a week or two, and it's like 10 feet down the road. And you come back later, it's like 10 more feet. Like, was it your checkpoint back there? Nope, it's always been right here. So they're just occupying by force. Like, they just keep moving that checkpoint down a little further.
Yeah.
Very slowly.
Right. Yeah, but so Iraq was interesting. We lost some dudes over there, and again, because we didn't get the MRAPs in time, someone else deemed a priority. Lost our commander, his gunner, his loader, and one of our Category 2 interpreters. Someone actually had a secret clearance. It was 3 105 rounds, top of white phosphorus underneath the Humvee.
Jesus.
So,
White phosphorus is like
That's like
the fire rounds. Yeah.
Are those illegal? Like
No, they're actually
Geneva
not.
Convention?
No,
Oh,
they are not. A lot of times we use white phosphorus or WP, where they call them Willie Pete's, I think, and they used them in Nam. We use them for like ordnance disposal. So like we grab up once we're like done fucking up an objective, we grab up all the like their weapons or something, and just toss a white phosphorus grenade on it to burn it all, melt it all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's not true because like our artillery, we have Willie Pete rounds because it creates that smoke effect. So it has because of the heat signature and stuff, it creates more of a thermal block for enemy thermals. So we do use it, but if you happen to also drop Willie Pete onto the enemy, fuck them because they're gonna burn. Yeah, that was pretty shit. And they eventually caught the guy because that when I say that shit burns. So we tried to put out the fire with fire extinguishers. That didn't work. We used every bottle of water. That didn't work. It literally ate through the fire retardant blankets. That's how bad it was.
Oh my God.
I almost lost 2 more guys because the Humvee was upside down on fire, and one of the guys was on top of the Humvee. He had a fire extinguisher in one hand, and the commander's body was on top, and he had the commander trying to get it unwedged, and the fire is like up to this dude's knees. He's trying to put the fire out, and that's when the rounds inside the vehicle start cooking off. So because it was so hot, it started. So I'm watching tracers stream by him. Another dude was coming from up the side. He was trying to go help out too, and so rounds are going by him. I'm yelling, "Get the fuck out of there!" But the guy that was running from the side, his best friend was one of the guys that was in the vehicle. And so we had just one survivor. That one, he had burns over 60% of his body. Spent 2 years in.
Hang on one.
Yeah, incendiary weapons aren't actually illegal by Geneva either. It's just you can't use them. It sets like a parameter for like how close you can use them to like civilian areas. So like if you're way out in the fucking desert or a field somewhere, you can use flamethrowers still if you we wanted to, like we could.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We still have flamethrowers, but you're not supposed to use it on people. You're supposed to use it like, oh, hey, look, here's a poppy field that we don't want them to have. So, theoretically, you'd burn
Yeah.
them.
It's not like World War II where you'd see a bunker and be like, fuck everyone in there and just, yeah.
Well, that's because insurgencies, they don't have those. So, I mean, they do, but it's not like World War II where like it's not like that. They used them like a lot in Nam because like they would use like white phosphorus to like burn down like areas where they have like spider holes in or something, or they'll use them up in Iraq to burn equipment, or fucking sucks. Yeah, getting hit with one. I mean, because the thing is like it's like a liquid kind of or something, like, and it burns. So like it gets on your skin, it sticks onto it, and it burns.
How do you put it out, or do you not?
You have to let it run its course. So after when our quick reaction force came out to the scene to help us with getting the bodies and shit like that, and also to help recover the destroyed vehicle, the Navy explosives ordnance disposal team came out because we were in the middle of nowhere. So we had a small Navy EOD detachment of like 4 dudes. They came out, examined the blast site because they have the scientific method to measure it to see what was used. The guy started using this metal pick to dig into the hole, and right off the bat, as soon as that new dirt was exposed, it flared up. He says, "Yep, white phosphorus." So as soon as it's exposed to air, it ignites again. So,
Holy shit!
It's like a powder. So if it gets on your clothes, once it's been ignited, that shit will just keep burning until it's exhausted. So
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oxygen source.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's some fucking intense shit, man.
Yeah, man. It's not pretty for sure. Like
No, I couldn't. Yeah. Like, what do you do if it gets on like a person, like on your skin?
You got to try your best to use something to maybe wipe it off. You try to wash it off with water. Water won't put it out, but at least you can try to flush it off the skin.
Yeah.
But it's good luck on that. Like I said, we had one survivor, and burns of about 60% of his body, but at least you know what parts of his body work, because after he came back and went through all the treatments, he's had like 5 or 6 more kids. So obviously some shit still
Yeah.
works.
Obviously, the dick was still intact.
Yeah, that's like the scariest thing about being out there, man, is like a bomb or something might go off and you might survive it, but yeah, what if shrapnel will cut your dick off. Like, yeah, it'll cut your balls up and
It's
tear
not my
them.
life.
Yeah.
Lose your dick, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
It's not
God.
good.
No. I think.
Yeah,
Well, what's that?
It depends on how big the shrapnel is, but it's a lot of times, like my mom, she's always like, aren't you scared? I'm like, no, if it's your day, it's your day.
Right.
Like the day that our guys died, we weren't supposed to be out there at least on that section of road that day. It just so happened we were out there. We were supposed to take the tanks out, but my wingman's tank, he had just gotten it fixed. We rolled 200 feet outside the gate. It broke down. So we switched back to the Humvees, rolled out. The commander decided to go with us that day. And we were doing, we call snap traffic control points, just random, little stopping points where we get out, search random vehicles, and then move around. And right around the time we were supposed to go back in, I said, hey, sir, it's time for us to roll back. And he says, well, Red Platoon's just a couple miles from here. They found a bunch of old munitions, like grenades that were like so old that they actually like holes and shit in them that just rusted away. They're waiting for EOD to get out there. I don't want to leave them alone in case some shit happens. So let's go, from this route over to here, over to here, over here. I'm like, all right, well, no one's been out that way for a while. It's mostly dirt roads. Okay, that's fine. And the thing that sucked was, so we're going on these dirt roads that no one had been for a while. And in the middle of the road, there was like this old IED crater. And the dudes over there were like, they're lazy. They don't have a lot of time. So they would just throw IEDs in the old craters instead of having to dig a new one. But we knew that. So, okay, we see that. Well, bisecting the road was, they called it an underground, like I think it was oil pipeline. It says underground, but really it was like waist high, just covered with dirt. So it was above ground, but it went like under the road, and that shit ran all the way to Iran. And dude was waiting there that day. They went back and looked at satellite imagery after the fact, and they seen like the night before he went to some abandoned house, and then went to the exact IED spot, and then went up to the hide spot where it was like this destroyed house straight down where that pipeline went. And he ran copper wire all the way down the side of that little berm. And what he did, instead of putting the IED in the freaking crater, he actually dug a hole right next to it, because they knew that we would try to avoid it. So our first vehicle had what we call the mine roller, just a big, heavy set of wheels. This way, if it was what we call crush wire, where they set it up so that if a couple of rulers or woods or that, and when you put enough pressure, it connects the contacts, closes that circuit, and sets off the IED. Well, this time it was a command detonated. So he had the wires hooked up to the IED, run the wires all the way down that pipeline to where he was, and had the wires attached to the battery on his motorcycle. And he was using that pipeline as a timer. So the first truck goes by, and he's okay. So then my truck goes by, and so we swerve around that damn IED crater because we know that there could be shit there. So basically, we're rolling right over the IED, and so then the commander's truck, and he just set it off because he was timing it So he used the first two vehicles as timing. Okay, it takes this long for them to go. Step on it, set it off, and blew it up right underneath them. So
Jesus
They're
Christ.
smart. They're smart. That's the kind of shit they
Motherfuckers
do,
over
dude.
there.
Yeah.
You gotta be, when you're outgunned and
Yeah.
technology is way fucking, those people are still in the
But you
stone
remember
age.
me telling you, though, making a bomb ain't that hard. So
You sure you want to say that on the air?
That's
Nick
fine.
is on another watch list.
Yeah, we're fine.
Finally, he says something that gets him on a watch list,
I
not
know,
me.
right? I'm already on a watch list.
yeah.
All right, I think let's see. We have been.
Well, he
about
was going to
an
say
hour.
something. What's up?
But as far as that, the war was different in every different part of the country. So where we were, again, they would just go out and grab old anti-tank mines, stuff like that, throw it out on the road. Oftentimes we didn't have anybody to shoot at. But the guys up in Mosul were fighting because we were essentially an interdiction force, because they were funneling in munitions, particularly like the penetrating IEDs from Iran all the way through to the big cities like Baghdad and Mosul. So we were trying to interdict a lot of that shit. Like, no joke, kid you not, there was a donkey farm like in the northeastern corner of where our operations were, you could go and rent donkeys at this place. And what the dudes would do is they'd rent a number of donkeys, go across the border into Iran, buy munitions, and then take them across, take them back into Iraq. And so it's like, all right. So, but yeah, so we always got warnings about these special kind of like rockets that they would kind of looks like an RPG head. They call them RKG-3s, but it have like a little parachute in the back.
They're Russian anti-tank grenades is what those are.
Yeah.
So what they do is they'd run up alongside your vehicle, throw it up, and then as it would come down, the little parachute would help kind of stabilize it because the armor is not as thick on the top of the armored vehicles because you're expected to fight, in front of you.
And they can land in open tank or open like gun turrets and like Humvees and stuff too. Yeah.
We always got warned about that. We didn't see it, but the guys up in like Mosul and Baghdad, they were seeing that shit, and it was getting funneled through our area. So we were trying to interdict.
They would do little shit in Mosul, like hang. So like
where's Mosul? Sorry,
well, Mosul is really far north Iraq. It's like one of the northernmost cities. It's like right by Syria. Like here's Iraq, right? Like it's like right there. There's Syria. Like Iran's like over here.
Yeah.
But so what they would do in Mosul too is, and the reason why you'd start seeing the turrets and like Humvees and stuff have like the hoods over them and like little bars and everything is because they would, in the cities when people, you'd be driving through, they'd hang razor wire across across the whole street. So like unexposed turret gunner, if he's just got his head there, his neck, just driving through.
Okay, so because I've seen those pictures and I always wondered why they did that.
Yeah,
that's fucking wild.
You take PVC pipe and you attach to the front of the vehicle and run it just in an arc. This way, if you hit like piano wire or whatever it is, it would hit that and just go up and over.
Yep, just goes over him. They don't make any turrets anymore now, where it's just an open top turret, like where like your gunner is just sitting up there and his head's just like
Jesus.
They don't do that anymore. It's too easy to fuck them up without having anybody there.
So before we go, because we're running up on an hour here, do you want to tell your award story or no?
I don't have this. I guess I could read the citation, but it just basically, as an officer, as a platoon leader for the things that I did in Iraq, leading the men through several life and death situations and rolling up a number of bad dudes and stuff. Yeah, I was awarded the Bronze Star for that.
Nice.
And so it's something that's on my record, something I can be proud of. And I wish I could have brought back all my guys, but unfortunately,
that's always the biggest thing.
Losing people.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine.
Biggest thing, man.
It's fucking thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, we gotta have you on here again, man. I know that ain't all your stories, dude.
An hour's never enough. No, it's never enough for anybody. I wish we could go Rogan and do 3 hours, but people would want to fucking kill us. But
I got a PT test in the morning, so I need to get my ass into bed anyway.
Cool.
Yeah, I got it.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, thank you so much, man. Brett and Circuses, Caleb Salvatore.
Yeah, this is Nick Kohler. Deuces. Make sure you guys go check the Facebook page for Big Bill Media. Go throw us a like on YouTube. We're on all the podcast networks. Yep. Seriously, we made a shirt. It just says Omaha Beach, man. Yep. It's like obviously,
it's a tank top. It's the Omaha, but so like paying ode to D-Day and our roots here in Omaha. It says Omaha Beach. It's like a beach bum tank top. It's fucking awesome.
It's hilarious, dude. We're gonna be rocking that during the summer, like every fucking episode, man. It's so great. All right, deuces.
Thanks, man. See y'all later. Okay.
See ya, Tom. Hey, appreciate it again. That's where it's gonna cut out there, but